Welcome back to Bassam. Today we are back to more Fear the Walking Dead, and I'm going to be talking about the end goal of Fear the Walking Dead, as well as the Walking Dead universe in general. And if you're not really into heavy theorizing, maybe this isn't the video for you. It's sort of going to be fanfiction-y, but it's something that I do see happening in the future, or that could happen. So we're going to be talking about the end goal of Fear the Walking Dead, and let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I mentioned it in my Where is Rick Grimes Going video talking about the Walking Dead movies, that I see the series sort of coming to an end at the end of the Commonwealth arc. Now, that arc is not finished in the comics. We don't know what's going to happen, but just based on time and when the movies would line up, and I'd say that the Commonwealth arc would last for a while, that I see the movies or everything coming to a halt sort of towards the end of that arc. And who knows, they could actually turn out to be villains, but I'm looking towards a big community that everybody would be a part of and sort of set the world back to the way it was. Now, whether that is the Commonwealth or not, I don't know. Maybe it's the community that Rick is going to right now that's going to set up the movies. But at the very end, we know that Rick's going to reunite with his family for The Walking Dead, and it's sort of going to end like that, all happy. But to do that, you need big communities, you need the world sort of getting put back to the way it was in a sense. Now we're kind of getting to the point where it's getting a little bit out there. Like I said, to predict the end of Fear the Walking Dead, I'm also going to have to predict the other Walking Dead properties, which could be a little difficult, but I'll try to do my best. So let's say they do it. Rick and the gang in The Walking Dead find this big community, and everything is happy, and, they set the world back to what it was in a sense. They have this big community, something like that. Where does that leave Fear the Walking Dead? Because right now, they're just going around and they're helping people. But you would think that all the Walking Dead properties at one point would come together. That's what I want. That's what a lot of people want. Fear, it's doing its own thing right now, which is fine, because we have quite a few years left when it comes to the Walking Dead universe, but at some point you would think everything would come together. But how would Fear the Walking Dead do that? Because they're on a much smaller scale than The Walking Dead right now, and definitely on a smaller scale than what the movies are going to be on. So what purpose are they going to serve in this new world? I think this is already being set up at what the direction for the show is going into Season 5. And, at the end of Season 4, Fear the Walking Dead finally got a direction, finally had a purpose, because Fear the Walking Dead really hasn't had a purpose since the very beginning, or hasn't for a long time. And they finally had a different direction that wasn't like the original Walking Dead series. It was very different. They're going to go out and they're going to help people. They're going to stay on the road a lot. While they'll have a main base, they're going to go out with these boxes, help people come back from, a very dark place that they could be in, like Martha was and Morgan was at some time. And probably a lot of people were towards the beginning of the apocalypse, and this is going to set the Fear group up in a lot of crazy situations, and they're going to meet a lot of crazy people, and I think eventually that they'll meet this big community. They'll find Rick and the others at some point and join in on what they're doing. The question is, what? Well, I think after all these years doing what they've been doing, that they'll have a lot of expertise when it comes to recruiting people, finding out who's a good person, who's a bad person, sort of like what Aaron and Daryl were doing in Season 6 of The Walking Dead, and they'll know a lot of the terrain in the United States, moving from roads to roads and traveling a lot. I think they'd be good for recruiting new members to this gigantic community and finding supplies, stuff like that. What I like about Fear the Walking Dead right now is that it's on a smaller scale than The Walking Dead. It brings us back to a simpler time in The Walking Dead where you had a small sort of condensed group and you had these stories that didn't take place in these giant communities. While I love that type of story, I do like it when it's a smaller group too, because you don't have to think about all these different communities and all these different characters. You know who to care about. That's why I see this as an ideal situation. You can take the Walking Dead cast, characters that people really care about, and pull them into the bigger story because they matter. You want them in the bigger story. But at the same time, they can go back out onto the road, and you can have those smaller Walking Dead stories that a lot of fans really love. And if you look at the Rick Grimes movies that are coming out, and The Walking Dead, the main show, these are big stories with a lot of characters. Things can get crazy and complicated, and some fans might just want to get back to that small group out on the road. So while the Fear the Walking Dead cast and characters can be a part of this big story, they can still have those smaller moments out on the road, which I personally really like, and I know a lot of other people do, and that's one of the reasons why I still really like Fear the Walking Dead, because it acts as a sort of solution to people who don't like The Walking Dead because it's gotten so big that they do like that story where all the characters are out on the road. But at the same time, like I said, have them be a part of that big story, because that is important, and we can have Morgan go back whenever he wants, see Rick and the others as well as the rest of the Fear cast, and do something like that. But those are just my thoughts on the future of Fear the Walking Dead and how they can tie in to the rest of the Walking Dead universe when this big merger does eventually happen, which I do see it happening. But like I mentioned earlier, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I just do see this big community recruiting pretty much all of the characters that we've met so far and bringing the Rick Grimes movies, The Walking Dead main show, and Fear the Walking Dead together. But hey, that's just me. I want to know what you think in the comments below. Tell me what you would like to see for the future of Fear the Walking Dead and the future of the Walking Dead universe in general. Did you like my ideas? Like I said, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.